Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and today we're going to be going over the 2019 Dodge Durango GT. Now, I picked out this Durango to do something that's a little bit more reasonable price-wise, but then also has a pretty cool aesthetic to it. With that being said, we're going to do a quick walk around on the Durango, then we're going to take it out to see how it drives. If you're stopping in for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe. And then this vehicle is being provided by us via Larry H. Miller Dodge Ram here in Sandy. Under the hood here, we have a 3.6 liter V6 that's routed through an 8-speed automatic transmission. In terms of fuel economy numbers, you're going to get 18 around town and 25 on the highway. Power output's going to be 295 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. Now, wrapping things up front, something that this particular Durango does not have, but I would like to mention, is this has the traditional hood. You still can get the sport hood with all of the vents on it, just like what the RT has and the SRT has. This one, though, has the front fascia that's the same as the RT and the SRT, so it's that performance front fascia. And then you can see it's got LED accent lighting just right there with halogen projector bulbs in this particular model. You can upgrade to the bi-xenon lights if you'd like. There are fog lights just down below, and then the front bottom of the bumper kind of comes to like a front splitter design. Looks really, really cool. But the nice thing about this is the fact that you can get this to look essentially like an SRT minus the badging and obviously minus the motor, and you aren't having to fork out nearly as much money as what that costs. Now, around the side here, we have these 20-inch high gloss rims on the front and the rear, and they go really well with the design of this package, kind of like this one in particular with the red color that it has, but kind of like the black and red accents on it. Looks absolutely fantastic. We can see this is the key fob for the GT Durango. You can get remote start and a power lift tailgate. Those are options on the Durango. This particular one is kind of more like a baseline model, so it does not have those options. But that being said, we're going to start with the styling on the rear. So we can see that you have dual outlet exhaust. This particular one has a tow package, so that bezel covers the tow package. You can remove that if you want to get access to the receiver hitch. You can see the parking sensors are integrated to the back of the bumper, and then you get this full LED light bar that's on all of the Durangos. And then if we actually pop open the hatch, it is hydraulic function, if I can even grab it. Looking at the space back here, we can see all of the mats for the Durango. You can fold these seats down for extra space. Back here, you do get a little 12-volt outlet, and then let's kind of fumble around. We can see there's a little bit of extra storage under here, and then there's this kind of like random storage pocket right there as well. We're around to the side here. We can open up the door panel for the rear, and we can see that there's a bunch of leather, obviously, for the bolsters, and then there's some black stitching. And then I'm not sure exactly what this is, but it's kind of cool looking trim. You've got your little window control right there. And then let's throw this up. This particular one has a bench seat. You can get captain chairs, which will have just 2 seats and then a pass-through in the middle. The bench seat is standard. Captain chairs are an option. And then we can see down here we have got some vents here, and then it is tri-zone climate in all the Durangos. So up here we have all of the climate controls for the rear passengers. In terms of legroom here, really good. It's really comfortable to fit people. In terms of the legroom for the third row, it's going to be a little bit tighter, so you're going to want to reserve the third row for little kids. Now, coming around to the side, we've got keyless entry, so one touch to lock it, and then to unlock it, you just have to put your hand on the back of the door handle, and that'll unlock it. And you look at the mirror, you'll note there is blind spot monitoring on the mirror. But we can step and look at the door panel here for the front, so more of that leather with the black stitching. Same thing with that trim. All of your window controls right here, door lock and unlock, and then your mirror controls with the little door handle. And then we can look over at the seat. So again, full leather here with black stitching. Again, full power adjustment on the driver's seat with all the lumbar controls. When we look at the pedal layout just down below with the parking brake right there, that's to open up the gas. And then your light controls, usually leave in automatic mode. That's for the screens to brighten or dim them. And then there is a little adjustment for the steering wheel. Now, to start up the Durango, just put your foot on the brake and push the push button. In terms of step and height, it's actually really easy to get in and out of the GT Durango, and then the gauges will do a sweep. Looking at the steering wheel here, I like the design on the steering wheel. Got your Dodge logo front and center. It's got this nice leather. It's soft kind of leather at the top, and then here it's a little bit grippier where your hands are going to be, which is nice. And this is a thicker steering wheel, which I definitely like. It just feels grippier in your hands. We can see cruise control settings are all right here, and those are controls for the center screen. We'll go over those later. And then all of your controls for Bluetooth, voice commands, all of that is just right there. And then you do get paddle shifters on the back of the steering wheel to shift the gears yourself. And then there are rocker panels where you can control the radio stations on the back of the steering wheel as well. Looking at the gauge cluster, on the left-hand side, we've got the RPMs. Over on the right-hand side, you've got your temperature gauge and your fuel gauge, and then you've got the speedo front and center. And you can see that there's a couple different menus you can scroll through. The speedo always stays there in the center though, but let me scroll through these menus so you guys can see what I am talking about. On the vehicle right there. We've got our center touchscreen right here. This is the smaller touchscreen. You can get the optional 8.4 inch, but this is the little 7-inch display. Still comes with a lot of similar functionality to it, so you still get the drag and drop function, still get little headrest fold for the rear passenger so you can whack your kids in the back of the head, and you're still gonna get your Bluetooth, backup camera, all that. So you can see it's got little trajectory lines when you are going into reverse, but really easy to use touchscreen, really quick response time on it as well. And then you will note that heated seats and heated steering wheel, those are also optional equipment here on the GT Durango. Now here's all of our analog controls. You got your analog radio controls, dual zone climate, and then we've got a couple functions here: stability control, your sport mode, eco off, which is kind of technically normal mode, and then your eco mode if you have that on, auto stop start, and then your parking sensors to turn them on or off. And then we've got a couple USBs, auxiliary, and then there's a little 12 volt, and then this actually comes with a trailer brake if you get the tow package on these new 19s already integrated into the Durango. We look at the shifter here for that 8-speed automatic, manual shift mode just right there. Got some cup holders here, and then this kind of little random space, not exactly sure what that's for. It's a little bit too small to fit a phone. Here's our little center console. So you actually have a little thing on the top for storage felt. This is where you could like put your phone and all that. And then if you fully open it up, you can see there's a 12 volt line with felts again. Decent amount of storage space. And while we're on storage space, let's go over to the glove box before. More of that trim above the glove box actually. But again, lined with felt, and this is where you're gonna put all of your owner's manuals and all that, and it's a pretty regular sized glove box, nothing weird going on here. Up top we've got our light controls. You can get an optional sunroof. There's no panoramic option for the Durangos, just a standard sunroof. And if you guys are noticing, I'm mentioning a lot of stuff that this Durango doesn't have, and like I said, I picked out a base model, something that's a little bit more manageable price point wise. Now, speaking on price point and all that, this Durango is just over $42,000 is what it stickers for before market adjustment, so it's a little bit lower on the price scheme side of things for Durangos. That all being said though, let's take this new 2019 GT out to see how it drives. So we are setting off here in the GT Durango, and kind of like overall feel, this feels just like any other Durango. I mean, they are all the same vehicle at the end of the day. Now let's start off on the topic of visibility. Visibility over the hood's really good. It's pretty easy to see over that. Over both sides is pretty good. The blind spot monitor is going to help you keep you safe on that part. And then over both your shoulders is pretty good. It's a longer car, so definitely there's a little bit of a blind spot back there, but the windows back there are pretty big, so overall visibility on the vehicle is pretty good, decent, you know what I mean? In terms of ride quality and road noise, ride quality is really smooth. There's not a whole lot of road noise that comes through. This is kind of just pretty much, it's a little bit above average is what I would say on that side of things for new vehicles. And then on road noise, yeah, there's not a whole lot that comes through into the cabin. It's pretty well insulated. With steering, super light and effortless, really easy to steer the car overall. And there's not much else to say about it. It's pretty normal steering rack for an SUV. There's nothing like crazy or special about it. Now let's get a little acceleration with this V6 and see if it's worth it to go up to a Hemi. Transmission shifts really quickly, so it's more than enough power for the vehicle. The Hemi definitely feels substantially stronger, I will say that, but it's more than enough power for this. And with the fact that it can tow 6,200 pounds with this V6, which is the base motor, is really solid on the Durango. To wrap things up on the 2019 GT Durango, what I would say about this is probably the package that most people will end up going for, and that's just from a price point standpoint, and also just all the stuff you can get. If you actually load these up pretty well, you can get a ton of features on them, so like the heated seats, and if you want like a sunroof and the sport hood, and you know, all those kind of bells and whistles, I guess you should say, you can add those into this and still be very reasonable price point wise. And this still looks like it's a very handsome looking vehicle. You still get kind of like those cool sporty looks, and you're going to get way better fuel economy than the V8, or obviously than the SRT V8. And so if you are in the market for a third row SUV, the Durango is going to be the best one for towing on this kind of like size wise of SUVs. Yes, like the bigger SUVs like the Tahoe and the Suburban and, you know, the Expedition, those are going to be different, but like this is like a smaller size SUV and has great towing capabilities. You have to check out one of the new Durangos. And there we we have it, everyone, the 2019 GT Durango. Thank you everyone so much for watching. If you are stopping in for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, comment down below what you thought. And then again, a big shout out and thank you to Larry H. Miller, Dodge Ram here in Sandy for providing us with the vehicle. If you're on the market for a new Dodge, check these guys out. I'll see all of you in that next video.